Welcome, dear listener, to a quiet corner of the evening, a place where the day softens into something gentler and the mind loosens its grip on all the little tasks it carried. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, we'll drift into a world shaped by warm sunlight, delicate wings, and the soft hum of tiny travelers whose presence has soothed human hearts for thousands of years. Bees, gentle architects of honeyed light and shimmering geometry, will guide us into calmness. Their rhythm, their harmony, and their ancient roles in the natural world form a peaceful tapestry perfect for helping your thoughts slow down. As you settle in, allow yourself to imagine the faint sound of a meadow just before dusk, the warm air drifting, and the subtle vibration that hints at the steady movement of bees returning home. Before we begin, you're welcome to gently like this video, subscribe if you enjoy drifting into sleep with soft science, or share a calming thought in the comments if you feel called to do so. You can do it now, or simply hold the intention softly as you rest. And whenever you're ready, let yourself sink into this peaceful exploration. Let's begin. Imagine a wide meadow touched by golden light, the kind that appears in the quiet stretch between afternoon and evening. The air is warm, the grasses sway in slow arcs, and small, sunlit particles drift like tiny sparks suspended in time. In this stillness, a soft hum moves across the field. Not loud, not insistent, just a gentle vibration, steady and reassuring, like a natural lullaby woven by wings. Bees, moving from blossom to blossom, create this sound, a sound so constant and calm that many cultures have seen it as a sign of harmony. Their hum sits low in the spectrum of natural noises, close to the soothing frequencies that help the body loosen tension. As you imagine that tone, you might feel something inside yourself gently unclench, as if your thoughts are aligning with the rhythm of nature. Take a slow breath, feeling its ease settle through you like warm light in the chest. Bees have always lived at the edge of human awareness, close enough to be familiar, yet mysterious enough to feel otherworldly. Their flight seems simple from a distance, a floating path from flower to flower, but inside that quiet movement lies a kind of wisdom crafted by millions of years of evolution. Each bee carries within it an exquisite set of adaptations. Wings that beat over 200 times per second, eyes that can detect ultraviolet patterns invisible to us, antennae that read chemical messages like soft whispers in the air. Their bodies are covered in fine hairs that hold electrostatic charges, allowing pollen grains to leap toward them as if magnetically drawn. This is the gentle science beneath their peaceful work, a harmony of biology and physics happening in silence. If you picture a bee resting momentarily on a petal, you might imagine the tiniest tremble as its wings fold against its body. Each wing is thin as silk, yet reinforced by a delicate network of veins. As the bee hovers or drifts, its wings don't simply flap. They twist, rotate, and angle in subtle shifts, creating vortices of air that lift its body in a smooth, floating rhythm. This elegant flight might appear effortless, but it's the result of a complex dance between the bee and the air itself, a partnership shaped over ages. And though the bee's wings beat swiftly, the feeling they create in the listener's mind is slow and soothing, like ripples on a quiet pond. Beyond the meadow, the bee's home rests in a warm, dim stillness. The hive, Whether tucked into a hollow tree or carefully kept in a beekeeper's wooden frame, is a sanctuary shaped by wax and the collective memory of countless generations. When you imagine entering this space in your mind, you might sense the soft scent of honey, the comforting glow of muted amber light, and the steady temperature kept by the colony's coordinated movements. Bees maintain their hives with extraordinary precision, warming it with vibration when the air cools, ventilating it with synchronized wing movements during summer heat. This quiet engineering creates an inner environment so stable and serene that researchers sometimes describe it as a living thermostat. The hive, in its symmetry and order, feels like a natural temple devoted to harmony. Within this sanctuary, bees communicate through a form of movement so graceful that it borders on poetry, the waggle dance. When a forager bee discovers a rich source of nectar or pollen, she returns home and shares the news not through scent alone, but with a looping, figure-8 motion. Her body moves in arcs, her wings vibrate, and the direction of her dance aligns with the sun itself. This allows her sisters to know which way to fly, even if the landscape is vast or filled with shifting shadows. The waggle dance is more than a communication method. It is a map written in rhythm, a story told through motion, a slow choreography that turns the inside of the hive into a quiet classroom where information travels by touch and sound. Scientists like Karl von Frisch devoted much of their lives to understanding this dance, and even today, watching a bee trace these patterns feels like witnessing a tiny lantern guiding others toward nourishment. As you imagine the bees performing this gentle ritual, you might picture how the colony listens. Bees sense vibrations through their legs, antennae, and even tiny organs within their bodies, interpreting the message through a mix of instinct and learned behavior. The hive becomes a living network of communication, with each bee responding to signals in ways that maintain the whole colony's balance. This collective intelligence is not rushed, not frantic, but calm and deeply ordered. Every movement serves a purpose, and every purpose supports the hive, creating a world where cooperation feels effortless, like water flowing downhill. In ancient times, people looked at this order, the shimmering hexagons of the honeycomb, the soft hum inside a hive, the gentle discipline of the bees, and saw something sacred. Greek philosophers believed bees were born from celestial dew, touched by divine breath. Medieval monks tended hives in their cloisters, believing the bees' soft sounds helped quiet the mind during contemplative hours. In many traditions, bees symbolized clarity, purity, or connection between earth and sky. When you imagine the honeycomb, with its perfect repeating shapes, you may sense why. Each cell is a hexagon, a structure celebrated in mathematics and physics for its efficiency. The hexagon allows the bees to use the least amount of wax while storing the maximum amount of honey, a pattern echoed in snowflakes, crystals, basalt columns, and even certain astronomical structures. That symmetry, when contemplated quietly, often creates a feeling of inner steadiness, as though your breath, your thoughts, and the world around you are all arranging themselves into a calmer, simpler pattern. At dusk, when the bees return from the fields, you can imagine the air cooling slightly as their silhouettes drift through the fading light. Each bee carries tiny grains of pollen, golden dust that clings to her legs like soft bracelets. She returns with nectar stored inside a special organ called the honey stomach, a small reservoir she fills with fragrant liquid gathered from flowers. Inside the hive, she will pass this nectar to other bees in a gentle exchange that looks like a kiss. They will evaporate the water from it through coordinated wing movements, transforming it slowly into honey, concentrated sunlight, preserved sweetness, energy made tangible. This slow transformation echoes the gentle pacing of the script itself, a reminder that beautiful things often form quietly and gradually. The flowers that the bees visit offer their own subtle guidance. Many blossoms display ultraviolet patterns called nectar guides, invisible to the human eye but radiant to bees. These patterns act like gentle arrows on the petals, showing the bees exactly where to land and where the nectar lies. While we may see a flower as a simple shade of yellow or blue, a bee perceives layers of contrast, glowing pathways, and shifting tones created by the polarization of sunlight. This ability allows them to navigate even when clouds soften the sky or shadows move across the meadow. Their world glows with colors beyond our senses, a dreamlike palette that adds an extra layer of calm to the thought of their journey. In those journeys, bees also help shape the world in ways that feel almost invisible, yet profoundly nurturing. By carrying pollen from one flower to another, they complete a cycle of reproduction that allows plants to fruit, seed, and flourish. Apple orchards, lavender fields, wildflowers at the edge of forests all rely on these gentle pollinators. Their slow, intentional paths contribute to the lushness of landscapes, turning solitary blossoms into thriving ecosystems. When you imagine a bee floating through the air, its flight becomes a soft reminder of how small actions can hold great meaning, how quiet work can sustain entire worlds. The more you picture these movements, the more you may feel your own inner rhythm beginning to match theirs. Thoughts stretch, lengthen, and soften. The day's tasks drift further away. The presence of bees in your mind becomes like a soft current, guiding you deeper into stillness without effort. The world of the hive, warm, orderly, fragrant, humming becomes a gentle refuge, a place where every motion is steady, every sound is soothing, and every moment holds the warmth of sunlight filtered through wax and wings. As evening settles into night, imagine the meadow once more. The last beams of sunlight fade into cooler shades, brushing the tips of grasses with pale gold before slipping away entirely. The bees have already returned to their sanctuary, and only the memory of their hum lingers in the air. It feels like the echo of a breath, a subtle vibration that reassures you that nature continues its gentle rhythms even as the world grows quiet. In this stillness, your thoughts may drift like pollen on the breeze, unhurried, weightless, and serene. The bees rest now, clustered in their warm hive, temperature steady and soft, their wings fold, their bodies quiet. The colony sleeps in its own way, though always with a subtle pulse of life beneath the surface. As you imagine them settling into their nighttime calm, you may sense a parallel within yourself, a readiness to soften, to loosen, to be held by the quiet. This is the beginning of a deep, tranquil journey into the most peaceful corners of the natural world, guided by creatures who have mastered the art of gentle purpose. And as this first chapter draws towards stillness, The soft hum of the bees feels like a distant memory, fading into the quiet backdrop of your mind. Their warmth, their rhythm, and their harmony remain with you, preparing the way for deeper calm as you continue onward into their world of golden light and subtle movement. The quiet hush of night has settled over the meadow where the bees rested, and as we drift back into their world, the landscape glows with a gentle stillness. The hum that once floated through the warm air has faded completely now, replaced by a deeper silence that feels almost velvety. Yet inside the hive, beneath layers of wax and the soft insulation of clustered wings, life continues in warm, steady pulses. The bees do not fall into sleep the way humans do, but they cycle through periods of restfulness marked by slower movements, a softness in their posture, and a calm that seems to radiate from the walls themselves. Their world, so tiny and intricate, remains alive even in the stillest hours, carrying the quiet devotion of thousands of small hearts beating together in gentle harmony. Imagine, for a moment, the interior of the hive as a warm cavern of gold and amber. The wax combs rise and fall like shelves made of sunlight, each cell a tiny chamber shaped with flawless precision. Scientists have measured the angles of these hexagons and discovered something remarkable. Every angle converges exactly at 120 degrees, as though the bees have mastered geometry through instinct alone. No matter the size of the colony or the place where the hive is built, these shapes repeat with astonishing consistency. The honeycomb becomes not just a storage structure, but a deep expression of order that feels almost meditative. When you imagine gazing along the endless rows of wax, each cell reflecting the faint glow of stored honey, you may sense how soothing such patterns can be. Patterns in nature often settle the mind, giving it something predictable to follow, something repetitive and reassuring. Within this calm space, bees nurture their young through a series of delicate steps. The queen, who is the heart of the colony, moves slowly across the comb, pausing to inspect each cell. Before laying a single egg, she measures the depth and cleanliness of the chamber with the precision of a careful artist. In the dim golden light of the hive, you might imagine her movements as slow strokes of a paintbrush, each one deliberate, each one essential. When she lays an egg, it rests at the bottom of the cell like a tiny pearl. Worker bees gently tend to it, feeding it, cleaning around it, and maintaining the exact conditions needed for it to thrive. Their dedication, though instinctive, carries the feeling of devotion, as though the hive itself is a sanctuary, and every life within it is tended with reverence. As the larvae begin to grow, they curl into soft crescents inside their wax chambers. Anchored in place by a silky thread, they produce themselves. The workers feed them a mixture of nectar and pollen, a nutritious blend known as bee bread. This food, rich in proteins and vitamins, is fermented gently by natural microbes, becoming more digestible and more nourishing as time passes. The biology here is intricate, yet the process feels peaceful, almost like a slow, warm kitchen in miniature, where countless meals are prepared with tender consistency. When the larvae finally spin cocoons and seal themselves in, their cells transform into quiet pockets of transformation, the interior dark and still, while beyond the walls, the colony continues its steady hum. The transformation inside these sealed cells is one of nature's quiet miracles. Within them, the larvae gradually reorganize, their tissues shifting, their structures changing until they emerge as fully formed adult bees. Scientists describe this metamorphosis with technical precision, but in the stillness of the hive, the process feels more like a deep rest. It is as though each young bee spends time in a cocoon of dreams, reshaping itself in darkness before stepping into the golden light of the hive as a new, delicate being. Emerging from their cells, the young workers climb across the comb surfaces, their bodies soft and slightly pale before their exoskeletons strengthen. They begin their lives within the hive, moving through stages of work that sustain the colony, cleaning cells, feeding young, tending to the queen, building wax, and eventually guarding the entrance before they earn the right to fly. Wax production is one of the most enchanting elements of honeybee life. Young worker bees possess specialized glands on the underside of their abdomen that secrete wax in tiny, transparent flakes. When warmed by the bee's body heat, these flakes become moldable, and workers gently gather them with their legs and mouth parts. The process is meticulous, involving kneading, softening, and sculpting each piece of wax into the intricate architecture of the honeycomb. If you imagine the inside of the hive during wax building season, you might sense the warmth of thousands of wings generating heat, the soft clink of bees shifting comb into place, and the scent of freshly produced wax, faintly sweet, slightly floral, and comforting in a quiet, earthy way. The honeycomb they build is more than a structure. It is a living system designed with exquisite efficiency. The hexagonal pattern maximizes storage while minimizing the materials needed, a principle so elegant that mathematicians long believed humans were the ones who first applied it intentionally, until they realized the bees had known this secret for ages. The honeycomb also supports the flow of air within the hive, guiding warm currents upward and cooler ones downward in a method that helps maintain stable temperatures. Some scientists believe the shape of the honeycomb even contributes to the hive's acoustics, allowing vibrations such as the queen's distinctive humming signals to travel more effectively. These vibrations form a subtle language in themselves, conveying information about the colony's needs or the queen's well-being. Outside the hive, the bee's relationship with the sun deepens. Bees are remarkable navigators, capable of sensing the position of the sun even when clouds obscure it. They use internal clocks synced to daylight, allowing them to calculate the angle of sunlight and determine direction with astonishing precision. It is as though each bee carries a small compass within her mind, one that remains aligned with the rhythm of the sky. This connection to sunlight is crucial, not only for navigation but also for communication. When foragers perform the waggle dance, they orient their movements relative to the position of the sun, even if deep within the dark hive. Other bees interpret this orientation instinctively, translating the dance into a flight path that leads them reliably across meadows, rivers, hills, and forest edges. Picture a forager bee setting out on her journey. She leaves the hive in the soft light of morning, pushing gently through the entrance. Outside, she rises into the cool air, her wings catching the early glimmer of sunlight. Bees see light polarized in ways humans cannot. This helps them maintain direction even when shadows shift across the landscape. Her compound eyes, composed of thousands of tiny lenses, detect motion and color with a shimmering clarity, especially in the ultraviolet range, where flowers often hide their secret patterns. Each flight path becomes a ribbon of memory woven through the air. Bees remember routes, landmarks, and distances so well that they can return to specific flower patches day after day, even if they are miles away. As she flies, her antennae detect faint aromas carried on the wind. Flowers communicate with scents, releasing specific molecules at different times of day to attract pollinators. Some produce stronger fragrances in the morning when nectar is abundant, while others release their scent in pulses as their nectar is replenished. To the bee, these scents create a kind of invisible map layered over the natural world, guiding her to places where food is plentiful. When she reaches a flower, her landing is delicate, her tiny legs curling around the petal as she steadies herself. She drinks nectar through her proboscis, a slender, flexible tube that allows her to sip deeply, and as she moves, pollen clings effortlessly to her body. This pollen will travel with her, becoming part of the wider cycles of pollination that sustain forests, gardens, and fields. The flowers themselves are shaped, in many ways, by their long relationship with pollinators. Some blossoms form deep tubular structures that encourage bees to crawl inside, brushing against pollen-laden stamens. Others display petal patterns that glow brightly in ultraviolet visions, beckoning bees toward their centers like luminescent gateways. The diversity of flower shapes, colors, and scents is a testament to this relationship, shaped over millions of years through subtle evolutionary dialogues. Each species adapts to attract specific pollinators, and bees, in turn, evolve more nuanced abilities to read the language of flowers. The harmony between them feels ancient and quiet, as though both plant and pollinator share an unspoken agreement about the gentle workings of nature. When the forager has gathered all she can carry, she turns back toward the hive, guided again by sunlight and scent. The journey home feels lighter, filled with the warmth of the nectar she carries and the subtle buzz of wings that always seem tuned to the same slow rhythm. Once inside, she shares her findings through the waggle dance, her movements creating ripples through the hive. Other bees gather around, antennae trembling slightly as they interpret the dance. They learn not only the direction of the flowers but also their distance, encoded in the duration of her waggle phase. The longer the waggle, the farther the flight. This communication, unique among insects, allows the hive to send its workers with remarkable efficiency, minimizing wasted energy and maximizing the rewards of each journey. While the foragers venture outward, the bees inside the hive perform their own essential roles. Some tend to newly emerged workers, grooming them gently and introducing them to the routines of hive life. Others tend to the brood, feeding larvae with tender attentiveness. Builders extend the honeycomb, strengthening and repairing cells. Ventilators position themselves near the entrance and fan their wings, creating currents of air that cool the hive or reduce moisture in stored nectar. Guards monitor the threshold, scenting every bee that tries to enter. Only those carrying the colony's unique odor signature may pass. This scent is a blend of pheromones that shift subtly throughout the day, shaping the hive's identity and bonding its members together through invisible threads. Pheromones play a profound role in the bee's inner world. The queen emits a distinctive pheromone that signals her presence and stabilizes the colony. Workers sense this chemical message through their antennae, and it influences everything from their behavior to their social roles. When the queen is thriving, her pheromone travels through the hive in gentle waves as worker bees brush past one another, transmitting it through touch. This scent tells them all is well, that the colony's rhythm remains steady. But if her pheromone weakens, the bees respond, feeding select larvae royal jelly, a nutrient-rich substance that can transform an ordinary larva into a queen. This transformation is deeply symbolic of the hive's resilience, a reminder that nature always prepares for continuity with quiet foresight. As the colony moves through the day, the temperature within the hive remains remarkably stable. Bees generate heat by vibrating their wing muscles. Even when their wings are folded, they gather in tight clusters in cooler months, forming a living sphere that warms the hive's core. In warmer periods, they fan air through the hive, creating soothing breezes that ripple across the comb. The result is a microclimate maintained with precision, a soft equilibrium that allows the hive to function as a cohesive being. When you imagine this, you might picture a warm, glowing sphere of life surrounded by the cool, quiet night. Thousands of gentle hearts working in harmony to create comfort not only for themselves but for future generations. Even the way bees manage their stores of honey displays their instinctive wisdom. They place honey in upper sections of the comb, where it remains warm enough to flow and be accessible. Pollen is stored lower, sealed with a thin glaze of nectar to keep it fresh. Brood cells cluster near the center of the hive, where temperature control is most efficient. Everything finds its place in this organized sanctuary. The hive becomes a perfect balance of art and utility, each section shaped by instinct, yet feeling almost intentional, even thoughtful. When observed through calm eyes, it becomes clear why ancient cultures likened the hive to a temple or a library of living knowledge. In late afternoon, as sunlight drapes the world in soft gold, foragers continue their steady flights. Their silhouettes flicker in and out of shafts of light, creating small patterns in the air. Sometimes a single bee pauses on a warm leaf, resting briefly before returning to work. This pause, though small, hints at a rhythm of exertion and ease that shapes their entire lives. Bees do not rush. They do not linger unnecessarily. They move with purpose, but never with frantic energy. Their pace, their hum, their loops through the air, all of it feels balanced, as though they belong to a deeper cadence of nature that humans often forget to listen for. As we drift with them into the evening, the world grows cooler again. The bees begin to return to the hive with their last loads of nectar and pollen. Their wings shimmer like thin gold threads in the fading light. One by one, they slip inside, the entrance growing quieter as the night deepens. Inside, the hive settles once more into its warm embrace, the collective pulse softening but still present, like a heartbeat within the earth. This is how their days pass in cycles of warmth and work, guidance and return, Light and gentle darkness, a rhythm that mirrors the calm rise and fall of a breath. The bee's world holds a quiet wisdom, one that invites reflection. Their cooperation, their communication, their devotion to shared purpose, all unfold without tension, without hurry. Scientists who study their behavior often speak with awe at the harmony achieved by such small creatures. Everything they do serves the whole, yet each individual life is filled with its own subtle tasks and moments. This balance between individuality and community feels like a soft lesson carried on wings. That peace emerges when each part of life aligns gently with the rest. As the hive settles into night once again, the meadow beyond cools under the dimming sky, and the soft hum that once drifted across the flowers gives way to a deep, serene quiet. The bees rest in their warm chambers, surrounded by wax walls shaped with ancient precision, and in this stillness, their world seems to glow with a gentle serenity, inviting your own thoughts to grow softer, slower, and more attuned to the quiet rhythms that guide all living things. Night has deepened over the landscape that surrounds the bee colony, and as the stars begin their silent shimmer across the sky, the hive rests within its warm, protective enclosure, like a lantern hidden in the dark. The air beyond is cool and still, but inside the hive the temperature remains steady, held carefully by the unified pulse of thousands of tiny bodies. This warm sanctuary hums at a faint frequency, not loud enough to disturb the night, yet steady enough to signal life continuing in gentle waves. It is in this darkened hour that the bees' internal structures, their roles, and their instincts reveal themselves more clearly, forming a world where biology and harmony weave together seamlessly. While most foragers sleep in quiet clusters, some bees engage in subtle nighttime tasks. The youngest workers, who have not yet ventured outside, use the dim hours to strengthen their connections with one another. They brush antennae lightly, exchanging tiny chemical cues that help unify the hive's identity. These pheromones, though invisible to the eye, create a sense of belonging that keeps the colony cohesive and calm. The hive is a place where individuality becomes part of a collective melody, each bee contributing to a quiet symphony that never stops entirely, even in the darkest moments of the night. As dawn approaches, the first faint hint of light touches the edges of the horizon, diffused through clouds that drift like pale veils. Bees perceive this early light differently than we do. Their eyes detect subtle gradients of brightness and the shifting polarization patterns that fill the sky at sunrise. These patterns act like a compass drawn across the heavens, guiding the bees long before the sun becomes visible to human eyes. For them, the world is full of hidden signals, glimmers, angles, flashes of ultraviolet patterns, and these signals combine to form an intricate map that requires no written symbols. Instead, the bees navigate with instinct as ancient as the first flowers that open to the sun. As the day slowly brightens, the hive begins to stir. A few worker bees emerge first, stepping toward the entrance to taste the morning air with their antennae. They sense humidity, the softness of the breeze, the faint threads of scent carried across the landscape. The decision of when to begin foraging is not made by any single bee. Rather, it arises collectively from thousands of small observations shared through brief touches, vibrations, and chemical signals. This kind of decentralized intelligence fascinates scientists who study the bee's choices and discover that the colony often behaves as though it possesses a single, unified mind. Yet this mind is not housed in any one individual. It emerges in the spaces between them, woven from communication, cooperation, and the gentle repetition of roles. As more bees awaken, the hive transitions into the soft bustle of morning. The workers warm their flight muscles by vibrating their wings, raising their internal temperature until they are ready to take to the air. This act is both functional and soothing. It creates a subtle thermal pulse that radiates through the hive like a comforting embrace. When the first bees lift into the cool morning sky, their wings glimmer with dew. The world is hushed, the flowers still holding droplets of moisture from the night, and the early hum of flight blends softly with bird song and the rustle of leaves. For a moment, imagine following one of these bees as she ascends. Her wings move in rapid micro-arcs, creating tiny vortices of air that keep her body buoyant and stable. Her compound eyes, shimmering with facets, interpret the world in a mosaic of light and color. She sees the edges of petals glowing with ultraviolet reflections. She senses thermal differences rising from the ground. She feels electric charges accumulating on flowers as they prepare to open. The natural world speaks to her in a language of energy, motion, and scent, and she interprets it effortlessly, guided by instincts shaped long before humans learned to cultivate crops or observe the stars. As she approaches the first flowers of the morning, she pauses in midair, hovering with remarkable steadiness. Flowers often produce their nectar at specific times, influenced by temperature, humidity, and sunlight. Some species release nectar in the early morning, offering it as a cool, sweet drink to pollinators who rise with the dawn. Others wait until midday. Heat warms their petals, releasing fragrances that carry far across fields. Each flower has its own rhythm, and the bees have learned these rhythms intimately, memorizing which blooms offer their rewards at which times of day. This deep ecological knowledge is not taught but inherited. When the bee lands gently on a flower, her legs curl around the petal's delicate edges, and her body sinks softly into the bloom's center. Her tiny hairs pick up electrostatic charges from the pollen, drawing the grains to her like miniature golden flecks of sunlight. While she drinks nectar, she unknowingly participates in a conversation between species that spans millions of years. The flower offers nourishment, and the bee carries its pollen to another bloom, ensuring reproduction and the continuation of beauty across seasons. This partnership is one of the quiet wonders of nature, a gentle exchange that supports ecosystems far larger than either partner alone could sustain. As the forager moves from one flower to the next, she becomes a thread, weaving through the fabric of the meadow. Each flight follows a pattern based on the distribution of resources, yet her path also responds to shifting scents, new blooms, and the subtle dance of sunlight across the landscape. Her movements create loops of motion that resemble soft brushstrokes painted on the air. These paths often form what scientists call traplines, efficient routes that the bee repeats daily, similar to a mail carrier following a familiar route. Yet even within this repetition, the bee remains attuned to change a new blossom. A shift in the wind or a richer patch of nectar can alter the journey, and she adapts gracefully, never rushing, never wasting energy. Meanwhile, inside the hive, other bees continue their essential tasks. Nurse bees feed the larvae in intervals so gentle and precise that their movements resemble tiny rituals of care. Each larva receives a mixture perfectly suited to its developmental stage. The queen moves through the hive with calm deliberation, depositing eggs in cells that have been cleaned and prepared by workers who seem almost reverent in their attention. The steady glow of the honeycomb reflects off the queen's long, tapered abdomen, her presence maintaining the colony's equilibrium through pheromones that drift through the air like quiet, reassuring breaths. The architecture of the hive is not merely beautiful, it is functional in ways that reflect profound biological efficiency. The honeycomb acts as both storage and nursery, yet it also helps stabilize the hive structurally. Its geometry distributes weight evenly, preventing collapse even when filled with heavy honey. The thin wax walls insulate the colony, trapping heat during cool nights and releasing it slowly as temperatures rise. The bees themselves regulate airflow by positioning their bodies strategically, creating breezes that move through the hive like gentle exhalations. The entire structure feels alive, adapting to its environment with an intelligence that seems woven into its very shape. As the day continues, the bees' world expands. Foragers travel farther from the hive, exploring orchards, fields, and forests. They read the landscape with sensitivity, detecting subtle gradients of scent that humans cannot perceive. Each flower emits a blend of aromatic molecules that shift in response to sunlight, moisture, and the presence of pollinators. The bees, equipped with antennae more sensitive than any human instrument, decode these signals effortlessly. To them, a flower is not a simple object, but a shifting constellation of cues: scent, color, temperature, electric charge, all of which guide their movements. When the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, the quality of light changes. Shadows stretch, deepening into soft purples and golds. Many flowers close their petals during this time, protecting their pollen until morning. The bees adapt their foraging accordingly, beginning the final sweep of their roots and then turning homeward. The air cools gently as they fly, and the warmth of the hive beckons like a soft glow in the fading light. Some bees carry nectar, others pollen, and still others return with resin collected from trees, which they use to create propolis, a sticky, fragrant substance that seals cracks in the hive and offers antimicrobial protection. Inside the hive, propolis acts like a natural varnish. It lines the walls, reinforcing the structure and creating a microenvironment that resists harmful microbes. Bees instinctively use propolis to sterilize surfaces before tending to new larvae or storing honey. This instinctive use of natural medicine has fascinated researchers who have discovered that propolis contains compounds capable of fighting bacteria, fungi, and viruses. The hive, in this sense, becomes not only an architectural masterpiece but also a medicinal sanctuary where the bees' collective knowledge of their environment is reflected in the materials they gather. With evening settling in, the hive transitions into its nighttime rhythm once more. The workers cluster together, forming a living quilt of tiny bodies that generate warmth and comfort. The gentle murmuring of wings ceases, replaced by the soft rustle of bees shifting into comfortable positions among the comb. You may imagine them leaning lightly against one another, forming a network of shared stability that supports every member of the colony. Let your shoulders soften for a moment, releasing any tension that may have lingered from the day, as though you are joining them in their quiet, collective rest. Outside, the sky deepens into a shade of blue so rich it feels almost like velvet. Stars shimmer and change position slowly, reflected in dewdrops forming along the edges of leaves. In the distance, the faint hum of night creatures creates a subtle soundscape. Yet within the hive, the atmosphere remains hushed, thick with warmth and the comforting sweetness of honey stored in its many chambers. The bees breathe in unison, though their breaths are too small to perceive individually. Collectively, they create a soft flow of air, a gentle current that moves through the hive like a whisper. Deep within the memory of the colony lies knowledge passed down across generations. Migration patterns of plants, seasonal rhythms, the timing of blooms, the shifts in weather. Though individual bees live only weeks or months, the hive itself endures through cycles that stretch far beyond the life of any one worker. This continuity lends the colony a sense of timelessness, as though it exists in a different dimension of awareness. Bees do not think about the past or future the way humans do, yet their actions sustain both. They work not just for themselves, but for the hive's longevity, a devotion quiet and unspoken, yet deeply resonant. The foundation of this devotion lies in the bees' remarkable ability to organize themselves without central control. Their communication relies on simple signals, vibrations, pheromones, touches. Yet these cues combine into a network of understanding that guides the entire colony's choices. The science of this coordination has inspired fields as diverse as robotics, economics, and artificial intelligence. Researchers studying swarm behavior often look to bees as models of efficient, decentralized decision-making. And yet, when observed through calm, meditative attention, the bee's behavior feels less like efficiency and more like a gentle flow of intention, each action contributing to a larger harmony. Imagine watching the hive through slow, dreamlike eyes. The bees move with purpose, yet without haste. Their bodies shimmer as they pass along the comb, their legs brushing against one another in soft exchanges of scent and signal. These interactions happen thousands of times within a single hour, creating a texture of communication that feels almost like a shared breath. No single bee controls this flow, and yet it remains organized, graceful, and synchronized. This ability reflects the beauty of nature's patterns, the way complexity emerges from simplicity, the way harmony arises without force. As the night deepens even further, the hive becomes a world unto itself, insulated from the cool air outside. The scent of honey grows stronger in the warm darkness. The queen rests in the center of the brood area, attended by her circle of worker bees who feed and groom her with gentle dedication. Her presence stabilizes the colony, her pheromones drifting outward in subtle currents that reassure every member of the hive. She is the heart of this living organism, not commanding through force but through the soft, chemical language of continuity. So the cycle continues, day to night, light to darkness, flight to rest, a rhythm that shapes the bee's existence with quiet constancy. And as we linger in this gentle cadence, the world of the hive begins to feel like a metaphor for something deeper. The idea that life flourishes best when each being finds their place within a larger harmony, when cooperation replaces conflict, when purpose flows naturally through each moment, like nectar through a flower's core. The bees, in their golden sanctuary, embody this truth without ever speaking it. Their lives, small and delicate, form patterns of calm and balance that ripple outward into the world. They pollinate the plants that feed animals and humans alike. They shape the landscapes we admire. They support entire ecosystems with movements so quiet they could be mistaken for a breeze. Their contributions, though subtle, are vast reminders that even the smallest acts can create waves of beauty and growth. As we drift deeper into their world, the hive glows softly in the night, a symbol of warmth, order, and gentle purpose. The bees rest together, held by their shared work and their shared existence. And as you imagine their tiny bodies nestled in quiet clusters, you may feel your own thoughts settling into similar patterns of calm, allowing the mind to slow, the breath to deepen, and the heart to grow still. As the hive rests beneath the cool veil of night, the world around it continues its quiet rotation, carrying the bees through another cycle of light and shadow. By now, the rhythm of their days has become familiar. The hum of morning flight, the warm buzz of midday labor, the gentle settling of evening. Yet beneath this daily pattern lies a deeper current of life, one that shapes forests, meadows, orchards, and even distant mountains in ways so subtle and harmonious that they often escape our notice. The bees are not simply inhabitants of their world. They are its caretakers, its quiet sculptors, its steady golden thread woven through the fabric of ecosystems. Their influence radiates outward in layers, each one touching another. When sunlight returns in the early morning, it reveals dew-speckled petals and shimmering webs suspended between blades of grass. The bees emerge cautiously, tasting the air once more. But today, imagine following not a single forager, but the larger patterns of the colony's influence, the way their movements shape the health of fields, the diversity of flowering species, and even the survival of entire landscapes. Bees are among the most important pollinators on Earth, and though they carry out their tasks with quiet modesty, the effects are profound. A single bee may visit tens of thousands of flowers in the span of a week, each visit leaving behind a trace of pollen that ripples forward into new growth. Pollination is the invisible thread that binds ecosystems together. When a bee lands upon a bloom, brushing pollen from one flower to the next, she helps plants reproduce, ensuring the continuation of species that feed birds, mammals, insects, and humans. Many of the fruits we cherish, apples, blueberries, almonds, cherries, melons, rely heavily on pollinators for their existence. Entire orchards rise and thrive thanks to the soft footfalls of tiny bees drifting from blossom to blossom. Even wildflowers, nestled in remote meadows far from human attention, draw life from the bees' gentle visits. Without these quiet pollinators, many species would fade from landscapes, leaving emptiness where there once was color. But the relationship between bees and plants is older than human memory. Over millions of years, Flowers and pollinators have shaped one another through a process called co-evolution. Flowers evolve colors, scents, and shapes that appeal to bees. Bees, in turn, develop senses and anatomical features that allow them to extract nectar more efficiently. Some flowers form deep wells of nectar that require long tongues to access. Others produce petals that reflect ultraviolet light in patterns that bees see as glowing guides. There are orchids that mimic the form of female bees, luring males to attempt a courtship that inadvertently transfers pollen. These interactions, though often silent and unseen, are among the most intricate stories nature tells, stories written not in words but in the elegant curves of petals and the delicate hairs on bees' bodies. Bees also play a quiet role in supporting soil health and water cycles. When they pollinate plants, those plants grow with greater vigor, sending roots deeper into the earth. Deep roots anchor soil, preventing erosion and allowing water to seep inward. This creates pockets of moisture that help stabilize entire ecosystems during dry seasons. In this way, each bee's simple act of moving pollen can lead to stronger landscapes, healthier meadows, and forests more resilient to change. The bee's influence flows upward and outward, holding nature together through soft, persistent effort. Inside the hive, this broader ecological work remains unseen by the bees themselves, who focus on the rhythms of daily life. Yet their behavior reflects a wisdom that seems to transcend individual awareness. They collect nectar from blooming plants, pollen from varied sources, resin from tree bark. Their choices diversify the foods they bring home, ensuring that the colony benefits from many nutritional sources. This diversity mirrors the health of the landscape. When bees return with pollen in myriad shades, golden, rusty red, pale yellow, deep orange, it means the environment around them is flourishing. A hive that thrives on a rainbow of pollen colors often lives in a landscape rich with plant life, where ecosystems hum with quiet abundance. As the day progresses, the dance of flowers and pollinators becomes more dynamic. Temperature rises, releasing scents hidden in the folds of petals. Bees detect these fragrances instantly, their antennae vibrating with recognition. The air fills with chemical messages we cannot perceive, and the bees navigate this aromatic tapestry with precision. Each scent carries information about the flower's health, its age, the concentration of nectar within, and even whether it has recently been visited by other pollinators. To the bees, the meadow is not just a field of colors, it is a library of fragrant stories, each one shaped by sunlight, wind, and season. While foragers continue their work, the landscape itself responds to their presence. Flowers shift in subtle ways, adjusting nectar production based on the frequency of visits. Some plants reduce nectar output if too many bees visit at once, balancing their resources to ensure long-term survival. Others produce more nectar in the presence of pollinators, encouraging the bees to return repeatedly. This dynamic exchange reveals a form of communication between plant and insect that, though not conscious in the human sense, is deeply responsive and interwoven. The bees become participants in a silent negotiation, helping plants optimize their reproduction while receiving nourishment in return. Back in the hive, bees convert nectar into honey with slow precision. They pass nectar from one to another, evaporating moisture through gentle wing fanning. This transformation takes time, patience, and the steady heat of thousands of tiny bodies working together. The honey they create is not simply food, it is memory made tangible, stored sunlight, preserved seasons, a record of blooms captured in liquid gold. Each drop contains the essence of countless flowers, their energy condensed into sweetness that can last indefinitely. Honey has been found in ancient tombs, still edible after thousands of years, a testament to the bee's extraordinary craftsmanship. The scientific properties of honey are remarkable. It is naturally antimicrobial, resistant to spoilage, and filled with compounds that protect both bees and humans from harmful microorganisms. Its viscosity, its fragrance, its golden hue all reflect the unique blend of floral sources visited by the bees. Clover honey is pale and delicate, while darker varieties reflect richer sources like buckwheat or chestnut. These variations tell stories about the landscapes where the bees have traveled, stories written in sweetness and color. Propolis, the resinous substance bees gather from trees, also holds quiet medicinal power. Bees use it to seal cracks, reinforce comb, and create a protective barrier against pathogens. Propolis contains antioxidants, aromatic compounds, and natural preservatives. In the hive, it forms a smooth coating along the walls, giving the interior a slightly herbal scent, warm, earthy, and comforting. This scent is part of the hive's signature aroma, unique to each colony and recognized instantly by its inhabitants. It is the fragrance of their home, their sanctuary, and their shared labor. As the afternoon transitions to evening, the bees' world softens once more. Shadows lengthen across the ground, and flowers begin to fold inward as temperatures fall. A few late foragers return to the hive, drifting in with wings that beat steadily but slowly, reflecting the quiet fatigue of a day well lived. Their bodies carry the dust of pollen that glows faintly in the lowering sun, and they slip past the entrance guards with the familiar scent of the colony upon them. Inside the hive, the energy shifts. The bustling activity of midday gives way to a slower rhythm. Bees groom one another gently, exchanging the colony's scent while cleaning away specks of dust or pollen. The queen, still attended by her loyal circle, moves across the comb, depositing eggs with measured calm. Her presence stabilizes the hive's emotional tone, her pheromones flowing outward in a soft pulse that reassures the workers. Even though bees do not feel emotions in the human sense, their reactions to chemical signals create a kind of atmosphere peaceful when the queen is healthy, tense if she is absent. As evening deepens further, the hive becomes a warm sphere of life surrounded by gathering darkness. The temperature inside remains constant, held steady by the bees' remarkable ability to generate and conserve heat. They cluster in layers, forming a structure that resembles a living blanket. Each bee has a place in this configuration, and even the outermost workers are rotated inward periodically to warm up. This cooperative maintenance of warmth reflects one of nature's most powerful yet gentle truths. Survival is often achieved not through strength or solitude, but through unity. In this quiet cluster, the bees share more than warmth. They share information, memory, and subtle cues about the health of the colony. Vibrations travel through the comb like soft tremors, interpreted by bees through receptors in their legs. These vibrations can signify the queen's movements, the arrival of foragers, or even the subtle trembling signals used to coordinate tasks. Each vibration carries meaning, though it is never spoken aloud. Their world relies on touch and resonance, on tiny pulses that guide thousands of individuals toward common goals. Beyond the hive's walls, the ecosystem settles into nighttime patterns. Some flowers release fragrances at dusk, attracting nocturnal pollinators. Night-blooming jasmine, moonflowers, and evening primroses open slowly, their pale petals glowing faintly in the moonlight. While honeybees rest, other insects take up the nocturnal mantle, continuing the cycle of pollination in ways that complement the daytime work of the bees. This seamless transition between day and night reveals a harmony that spans species, each following its own rhythm but contributing to a shared, continuous flow of life. In the darkness, one might imagine time slowing, stretching out as the earth cools. The hive remains a quiet anchor, a warm heart beating softly beneath the stars. Even though the bees rest, their influence remains woven into the world beyond, into the fruit that will ripen days or weeks later, into the seeds that will fall into the soil, into the flowers that will bloom with renewed vibrancy when the sun returns. As the hours pass, the sky shifts slowly toward dawn once more. The bees, ever sensitive to changes in light, begin to stir before the sun's rays reach the ground. Their internal clocks, synced to the Earth's rotation, guide their waking moments. These clocks rely on proteins that respond to light cycles, creating intricate biochemical rhythms that mirror the patterns of the day. Even inside the pitch-dark hive, these internal mechanisms allow bees to maintain a sense of time, a skill essential for navigating their world. The new morning brings with it a subtle change, not just another cycle of work, but a hint of transition, a sense that the days themselves are shifting. Perhaps it is the seasonal movement of the sun, or the first signs of new blooms emerging. Bees sense these changes instinctively. As temperatures warm or cool, or as the types of available flowers shift, the colony adjusts its behavior. Foragers may travel farther or nearer. The queen may lay more or fewer eggs. Workers may store more nectar or focus more on brood care. Each small adjustment is part of a larger, gentle adaptation to the world's quiet fluctuations. These adaptations echo the larger ecological truth that all life moves in cycles: growth, rest, transformation. Bees embody this truth in their daily routines, their seasonal patterns, and their generational continuity. Even as we delve deeper into their world, the sense of movement becomes softer, more reflective, as though nature itself is guiding the colony toward a quieter threshold, a gentle arc that hints at closure without disrupting the peaceful flow. And so the hive continues, the bees moving through their subtle tasks with soft determination. Their world is warm, harmonious, and deeply connected to the rhythms that govern the earth. As we linger near the end of their story, the quiet begins to expand, not into emptiness, but into a calm that feels like the final glow of sunlight before evening descends. Their lives, though small and delicate, radiate a truth that reaches far beyond the hive, that peace often arises from steady, mindful labor, that harmony grows through connection, and that even the most intricate systems in nature flourish through balance rather than haste. The bees, moving slowly within their sanctuary of wax and warmth, invite us into this reflection. Their days continue, each one weaving softly into the next. Their world narrows into a hum that grows subtler, more dreamlike, and as we drift with them toward the closing chapters of their story, we sense a gentle turning, a soft preparation for the quiet conclusion that awaits, serene, luminous, and filled with the warmth of all we have witnessed in their golden world. The first hints of dawn whisper across the quiet meadow, casting a pale glow that softens every edge of the landscape. As sunlight gently returns to the world, the bees remain clustered within the hive, wrapped in the comforting warmth of their collective presence. This moment, the hushed breath before morning truly arrives, holds a certain tenderness. The cool air outside hides nothing but stillness, and the hive, so carefully built and lovingly maintained, stands like a quiet guardian over the rhythms of nature. Inside, a pulse of life stirs faintly. The bees feel the faint shift in temperature, the tiniest change in brightness, and the subtle call of the day that awaits them. Throughout the long night, the colony has rested in a warm embrace of tiny bodies layered together in soft communion. Their wings have remained folded, their movements minimal, their vibrations low and rhythmic. The hive has functioned like a living hearth, glowing with its own internal energy. And now, as the dawn slowly unfolds, that inner glow prepares to expand outward once more. The bees do not wake abruptly. Their stirring is gradual, gentle, more like the slow blooming of a flower than a sudden change. They shift, stretch, and acclimate to the new day with instinctive grace. As the colony awakens, it does so with quiet intention. Some bees begin to fan their wings softly to regulate airflow, ensuring the hive's temperature remains stable even as the world outside changes. Others attend to the queen, brushing her with delicate antennae and feeding her the nourishment that sustains her vital role. The queen herself moves slowly across the comb, surveying empty cells with calm deliberation. Her work, so essential to the colony's future, continues steadily, not with urgency, but with an unhurried rhythm that echoes the gentle consistency of the hive. Outside, dew settles like tiny jewels along the petals of morning flowers. The meadow stirs softly as petals begin to open, offering the day's first nectar. Each flower has its own internal clock, guiding the timing of its bloom. Some respond to light, others to temperature or moisture. The bees know these rhythms intimately. They have flown these paths countless times, learning the schedule of each blossom as though memorizing a vast poetic map written entirely in color and scent. With morning's arrival, this map awakens for them once again, and the bees prepare to step into their place within it. The first foragers emerge tentatively from the hive's entrance, their antennae tasting the air for hints of familiar fragrances. They read the surroundings, humidity, light, even faint traces of pollen drifting on the air, gathering the information they need to guide the day's decisions. Then, one by one, they lift into the air, rising from the colony like flecks of gold carried on a gentle breeze. Their wings catch the soft sunlight, shimmering with the promise of a peaceful day ahead. As they ascend, the bees move with a calm focus. They travel across the meadow, drifting over grasses that sway in slow arcs, dipping briefly toward blossoms that glow faintly with ultraviolet patterns. To us, these flowers may appear still, but to the bees they pulse with hidden messages. Each petal reflects light in distinct ways, revealing nectar guides that shine like softly illuminated runes. These patterns are invisible to human eyes but radiant in the bees' world, directing them toward nourishment with quiet clarity. This morning, the flowers greet them with renewed generosity. Nectar glistens within petals, cool and sweet, while pollen waits in delicate strands. The bees land with practiced ease, their bodies fitting into the contours of each bloom as though shaped precisely for this purpose. The flower bends slightly under the gentle weight of the bee, and the two beings, plant and insect, exchange gifts: nectar for nourishment, pollen for pollination. This reciprocal relationship has endured for millions of years, shaping landscapes, sustaining ecosystems, and maintaining the cycles of life that bind all living things. The bees' presence here is like a calm tide flowing through the meadow. As they move from flower to flower, they carry with them not just pollen, but the quiet continuity of nature. Their soft hum mingles with the morning breeze, creating a soundscape that feels almost like a whispered lullaby, gentle, soothing, and deeply grounding. Even imagining it can bring a feeling of ease to the mind, like the steady rhythm of a heartbeat felt through layers of warmth. While the foragers visit the blossoms, other bees attend to their work within the hive. Some build new comb using freshly secreted wax, shaping each cell with meticulous care. Others tend to the brood, ensuring that every growing larva receives exactly the nourishment it needs. Their movements are steady, not hurried. Bees understand their tasks without being told. Instinct and subtle cues guide them effortlessly. Within the hive's golden interior, thousands of small actions unfold, each one contributing to the smooth harmony that defines their world. As hours pass and the sun rises higher, the meadow becomes alive with the soft buzz of countless wings. Bees weave complex patterns through the air, their flight paths overlapping yet never colliding. Their ability to navigate in such close quarters arises from their sensitive vision and acute perception of motion. Every movement is observed, calculated, and adjusted with astonishing speed, yet the result feels effortless, peaceful, almost musical. In watching or imagining them, the mind naturally slows, attuning to the graceful coordination of their collective life. By midday, the hive is rich with activity. Foragers return laden with nectar, their pollen baskets full and vibrant with color. Each hue tells the story of a different bloom: the pale gold of clover, the deep orange of marigold, the soft yellow of dandelion. They enter the hive and pass their nectar to house bees, who begin the slow process of converting it into honey. House bees fan their wings to evaporate moisture, creating a warm breeze that moves through the hive like the breath of a living organism. Others store pollen in cells, pressing it gently into place and sealing it with a taste of nectar. Over time, these small actions accumulate into something astonishing. Thousands of drops of nectar transformed into glowing amber honey. Each cell becomes a tiny vessel of sunlight, preserved in sweetness. The honeycomb, filled with this gift from the flowers, resembles a mosaic of warmth, each cell a quiet reminder of countless journeys countless gentle interactions between bee and bloom. As the afternoon continues, the bee's work begins to slow. The intensity of midday light fades into a softer hue, and the air cools with the subtle promise of evening. Shadows stretch across the meadow, lengthening like slowly drawn brushstrokes. Flowers begin to close their petals, folding inward as though tucking themselves to sleep. The bees sense this transition instinctively. Their flights become shorter, their movements more deliberate, as they gather what remains of the day's nectar. Gradually, the foragers return to the hive, slipping into its warm interior one by one. Their arrival is peaceful, unhurried. Within the hive, they greet their sisters with gentle antenna touches, exchanging the scents and stories of the day. The colony gradually shifts from the active rhythm of daylight to the softer cadence of evening. Some bees spread themselves near the entrance, fanning their wings to maintain optimal ventilation. Others settle deeper within the comb, brushing their antennae across wax walls or attending to tasks that must be completed before night fully falls. As the last traces of sunlight fade, the hive becomes a sanctuary of warmth once more. The bees gather close, forming protective clusters around the brood and queen. The temperature stabilizes, held in place by their collective energy. Inside this golden chamber, time seems to slow in a way that mirrors the settling of the listener's own thoughts. Even the outer world seems to quiet, as though nature itself is preparing for rest. In this tranquil atmosphere, it is easy to reflect on how deeply bees shape the world, not through force or dominance, but through small, consistent acts of devotion. Their labor is gentle, their purpose constant, their harmony unwavering. They embody a way of living that feels deeply comforting, a life guided by rhythm, cooperation, and an unspoken understanding that each moment contributes to something larger. Allow your breathing to soften with that thought, letting the idea of their harmony settle gently around you. Night deepens, wrapping the meadow in layers of cool air. Stars appear in the sky, one after another, like tiny lanterns suspended above the earth. Somewhere in the quiet distance, a breeze moves through the grass, rustling softly, and inside the hive, the bees rest in clusters, feeling the steady warmth of one another. Their bodies vibrate subtly as they maintain the perfect temperature, creating a hum so faint it blends seamlessly with the stillness. Within this stillness lies an extraordinary truth. Even as the bees sleep, their influence remains present in every corner of the landscape. The fruits that will ripen, the seeds that will sprout, the blossoms that will bloom tomorrow, all of these carry the imprint of the bees' gentle work. Their presence shapes the future quietly, lovingly, and without needing anything in return. This sense of continuity, of belonging to a cycle that stretches far beyond individual lives, offers a feeling of calmness that seeps deeply into the mind. Let your thoughts drift with it, releasing anything that feels heavy, allowing yourself to rest in the bees' steady, dreamlike rhythm. The hive, now almost silent, glows with the faint warmth of the bees' shared life. The honey within its cells glimmers softly, catching what little light filters through the night. The queen rests in her chamber, surrounded by attendant workers who care for her with unending patience. The workers themselves breathe tiny breaths, nearly imperceptible, yet collectively forming a gentle current of air that flows through the hive like a serene whisper. In this sanctuary, every movement is delicate, every sound soft, every presence comforting. This is the final movement of the bee's day, a slow, peaceful settling that mirrors the transition from wakefulness to slumber. Their world, filled with light and motion during the day, now becomes a cocoon of stillness. It is here, in this moment, that the mind of the listener can align with their calm. Let your eyes grow heavy as you imagine the hive resting beneath the stars, wrapped in warmth, held in harmony. In the deeper layers of the hive, young bees dream their silent dreams of flight. Though they do not possess human imaginations, their instincts prepare them for the future. The swift beats of wings, the scents of flowers, the patterns of sunlight that will guide them. Their bodies grow stronger in the dark, and soon they will join their older sisters in the sky. Each generation continues the cycle, adding new threads to the tapestry of life that the colony weaves over time. The older bees, nearing the end of their gentle lives, rest quietly among their sisters. Their wings carry the faint wear of countless flights, each one a testament to the many journeys they have taken. Yet, even in their rest, they remain part of the hive's warm heart. There is no fear, no tension, only the soft settling of a life lived in harmony with the world. In imagining them, the listener may feel their own thoughts soften, their own breath deepen, their own body loosen into comfort. Outside, the stars continue their slow drift across the sky. The night air cools further, settling over the meadow like a soothing veil. The flowers have closed for the night, their petals tucked away, waiting for sunrise. The grasses sway gently in the faint breeze, their movement rhythmic and serene. The entire world seems to join the bees in their rest, held in a state of quiet equilibrium. As the mind sinks into this stillness, the hum of the hive becomes distant, soft, a faint memory of warmth and golden light. It lingers in the background like a lullaby, steady and reassuring. It is here, in this peaceful quiet, that the final relaxation reminder belongs. Allow your whole body to settle comfortably, as though sinking into a nest of warmth and gentle calm. The bees' day has ended, but their world continues its slow, rhythmic heartbeat, carrying their stories forward into the night. Their influence lives on in every flower that blooms, every fruit that grows, every seed that falls into fertile soil. And as the listener drifts deeper into rest, they carry with them the memory of the bee's gentle purpose, a reminder that life can move softly, deliberately, and with quiet beauty. Now the hive sleeps completely, its chambers filled with the soft glow of stored honey and the peaceful breath of thousands of tiny lives resting together. The meadow sleeps as well, holding the promise of another dawn, another cycle of blooms, another day shaped by golden wings. You are invited to drift alongside them, letting sleep come to you gradually and effortlessly, like a soft tide rising around you. Thank you for spending this time in the warm, luminous world of the bees. May their harmony stay with you, settling your thoughts, easing your breath, and guiding you gently into dreams. Rest well, dear listener. Sleep deeply, peacefully, and sweetly. Good night.